kind of just drank a lot of alcohol, you got drunk, you had a good time. Sometimes you got sick. I mean, everyone was there for the same reason.
And a lot of times we're finding students that are just laying out somewhere in the grass or in the stairwell or you know, just the effects of that overindulgence into the alcohol, just most of that comes back here.
Running around, destroying things, making a mess, ruckus.
The atmosphere in the morning is very, very calm, but at nighttime, I'd say the atmosphere is probably like Wild Kingdom out there.
Anyone can sing. Does it really matter?
I was born and raised in Glassboro, so I've lived here all my life. I've seen the town change over the period of my life from being a fairly small community to a community that has grown, and with that, the growth of the college or the university as it is known now.
We've been in this house since January of 1977, and the neighborhood was very quiet.
It's a diverse community, and we enjoy that. Kids get to see all kinds of things, and we like living near the college. There's a lot of opportunities there. There are a lot of events that we can attend, and it just makes for a nice life. About 20 years ago, we had the house next door was sold to a family that moved their son and college students in, and that was not a good experience.
It's a pretty big deal because a lot of the students here, you know, do engage in drinking activities.
My partying habits are drinking beer, drinking hard alcohol with my friends, 2 to 3 days out of the week.
When I was a freshman, I just didn't care. I drank a lot, I smoked a lot, and I did things like there was no tomorrow.
I do find that a lot of my residents do go off campus and drink, and I think that's primarily because they know it's not tolerated here.
So it would start out generally frat houses, sorority houses, because when you're a freshman, they're all about getting people to come out and rush, so you kind of check out what they're all about, and some people end up doing it, some people don't. But then you move up to campus crossings and beau rivage, off-campus places, even some houses on the local residential areas. And once everyone turns 21, everyone generally has their 21st birthday at Landmark. So after that, people generally like going there.
If they're walking down the street and they need to vomit, they, instead of vomiting in the street, they'll vomit on people's properties, on their bushes, you know, on the trees, which they might not realize, but it does do damage to the shrubberies. And the trash, we talk about the red tide, because in the springtime or in the fall when they first arrive, there's always a tide of red cups.
The weekends can be very disturbing. The parties that go on can be a real problem with the number of students who attend these parties. Sometimes they can have 50 to 75 to 100 students at a given party. The foot traffic on the neighboring street where the fraternity is was packed with college kids. I happened to look out my window, just packed with kids nonstop. We could hear a lot of noise. Unbeknownst to us at that time, there had been a party, or there was a party at the fraternity house. It was so bad that most of the neighbors on that street went to the borough council or the business administrator that Monday and complained. And ever since then, we've had a community town-gown relationship, which has really helped. After a lot of prodding by the owner of the home, the fraternity kids had to find another place to live.
We went out to my friend's car after drinking for a while to get something, and I took a piss in the parking lot, and before I was done even peeing, the cop was halfway through the ticket, just asked me for my ID. I handed my ID, he just wrote my name in, handed me a ticket.
When I got my alcohol violation, I was living in Chestnut. It was my freshman year. I had about 3 people over my room, had some music on a little. I didn't think it was too loud, and that's basically what drew the attention. We had a handle of whiskey that I had in the room, and there was a bottle of wine and a couple 6-packs of beers. So I got a knock on the door from the RA, and so she left, and then 5 minutes later she returned with 2 RAs, and one of the RAs kind of pushed the door open and saw that we were drinking. He like checked some cups and finally found one that had alcohol in it. And then from there on out, it was a nice write-up and a nice online survey called eChug.
We're not trying to categorize the students as bad people. For the most part, they're young. A lot of them have been away from home for the first time, and they have freedom that that they haven't experienced before, and they try to use that freedom, and that's understandable.
Most of the neighbors who live in at least this neighborhood, and probably throughout Glassboro, have been to college. So we've experienced living off campus and the freedom that you can enjoy with that.
These students have to understand that they're coming for a short period of time, 4 years at most. Maybe some of them are a little bit longer than that, but 4 years, and they're coming into communities where the people have lived for 30, 40, 50, some cases longer than that. And they have to understand that their behaviors and their actions impact those people who live in these communities.
But the senior citizens don't know what to do, or they're afraid, and it's really unfair for them. They've been living here for a long time. They can't move. They have nowhere to go, or they don't have the money. So these are the kinds of people that I would like to protect, and these are the kinds of people that the college kids, please think about those people. It would be your grandmother, your grandfather, your elderly aunts or uncles living next to you. They're the ones that I'd like to keep safe.
Take a step back and try to understand the position of the residents who live in these neighborhoods, who live in the community. I mean, and try to approach it as they would at home.
We had a situation a few years ago where there was problems in the neighborhoods with off-campus activity by the students affecting the residents late at night with maybe some citizen complaints. And so through that relationship, we started having meetings where we invited people from students, landlords, residents, administration, and public safety from Rowan as well as from the borough. One of the reasons why we had this every other month meeting with the students, because we want to hear their side, and we want the residents to hear their side and figure out, okay, how do we coexist?
We're interested in working with the students and seeing if there's any way we can learn more about what their needs are, and also to let them know what our needs are.
If other people, maybe it's not you, a lot of times it isn't the kids who are renting the home, it's their friends. You're on the lease, so it is your responsibility. If you see your friends getting out of hand, bring them inside.
Because we're both occupying the town at the same time. And I think as long as we're respectful of each other's needs, things will just keep on improving.
Going to school in a residential area is definitely tough because there's a lot more complaints. There's a lot more people just around to care about what you're doing. Whereas if you go somewhere that's just the college, you know, you're just dealing with A, college kids, and B, the faculty. And being in a residential area adds, you know, a C factor of, you know, people that are actually trying to live their lives.
Keep the lines of communications open. I think that's probably the key to getting along better in the future.
We go downstairs, we tell our neighbors, like, we're gonna have a party tonight. If anything, can you come up and knock on the door if we're bothering you, like, let us know instead of taking it to somebody else. Like, just come straight to us and we'll fix it.
We have several different student neighbors. We have a group of kids across the street, nice kids always. In fact, one night they had a party. Paul came over and let me know in advance, And it was a Friday night, but at about 1 o'clock they were loud, and my bedroom was close to the house. So I went over there, I asked Paul, could you keep it quiet or go inside? And he was so accommodating, it was perfect.
We also get some of the residents saying, hey, you know, our neighbors are Rowan students and they helped us out with this or that, or, you know, made us cookies or a cake, or invited us to a party, or, you know, cut a neighbor's grass when they were an elderly person and didn't have anybody else to do it, or shoveled their walk. So I hear a lot of positives too.
We've made steps toward peaceful coexistence by having our community meetings that we've been having with the Borough Hall. I was happy to see students attending the meetings.
Think of your grandparents living next door to you, and would you really want them to see you doing some of the things you're doing? Try to be mature about it. You can still have fun and be mature.
And now I've gotten more serious with schoolwork. I've gotten more serious with a career, and I've got my future in mind. So now it's much more calmed down. It's much more, you know, I do things with tomorrow in mind.
I feel my violation was a good experience in the long run. I mean, it taught me to be more careful, and granted that I got caught on such a small scale, I wasn't having a full-blown party, there wasn't, you know, massive amounts of alcohol being consumed. It kind of gave me a quick wake-up call before anything could have escalated in the future. You know, if I got away with it that time, I would have continued to do bigger things and maybe had more people over, and, you know, you always run the risk of alcohol poisoning and people just getting sick in general, so it helped me stay safer.
We're paying to live here, they're paying to live here. It's their house, it's their home. We're just here for a couple of years, they might be here for a couple of decades. It's their town.